already died, and they never had to pay for this horrible crime. However, the Barrus family has expressed their relief on finally being able to have some kind of closure. Detective Marshall said DNA technology is the future for solving cold cases. We now come to the case of Stephanie Sommers. On August 30th, 1980, Stephanie Sommers was supposed to spend the day with a nephew. They were going to celebrate his birthday and spend a wonderful day together. However, she never appeared. Police eventually found her lifeless body inside her apartment. Sommers was a 36-year-old woman who lived in Silver Lake, Los Angeles, California. She'd only recently moved there from Newhall, Santa Clarita, and she couldn't be more excited. On that fatal day of August 30th, she was at her apartment getting ready to spend the day with her 11-year-old nephew, Kelly Roberts, from Santa Clarita Valley. She was planning to pick him up and take him to Six Flags Magic Mountain as a late birthday present. Kelly got dressed up especially for the occasion. However, his aunt never turned up. Concerned, her family contacted the authorities, who went to check her apartment. That's when they made the grisly discovery. Stephanie's lifeless body was laying inside her apartment. Forensic evidence was collected at the crime scene, and an extensive investigation began. Several people were interviewed. However, the leads went nowhere, and the case went cold. The case remained unsolved for more than 3 decades until Los Angeles detectives received a fresh lead in 2014. It implicated a man named Harold Anthony Parkinson, who lived a mile away from the victim, and he could be a main suspect in the case. On June 19, 2014, a DNA sample collected from Parkinson was consistent with the DNA profile taken from Sommers' body, and he was charged with taking her life. However, Parkinson was already in jail, serving between 15 years to life at the Chuckawalla Valley State Prison in Blythe for another unrelated attack. This other attack happened in Los Angeles on April 8, 1981, when he shot a man named Derek Eugene Perry. Perry succumbed to the injuries and died. Parkinson was arrested and began serving time for that sentence on March 5, 1982. Perry's sister Dolly said, "At the time, I remember the last meal I had with Derek. It was at a Sizzler restaurant. He gave me a hug and told me he loved me." She described her older sibling as an excellent BMX rider and surfer and a brilliant big brother. The motive of the attack was unknown or undisclosed by authorities. After learning that Parkinson was being accused of Sommers' death, Dolly said that he is a dangerous man and should never be allowed back on the streets. In court, Parkinson's lawyer argued that his client hadn't assaulted Sommers and claimed that the two were romantically involved and they slept together a few days before she was attacked. Prosecutors, however, said Sommers, after a brief marriage to a man, had told friends that she was only attracted to women. Los Angeles court judge Kathleen Kennedy described Sommers' case as a very degrading, horrible, and violent crime. Judge Kennedy believed there was proof beyond a reasonable doubt that Parkinson was responsible for this. On February 4th, 2021, Harold Anthony Parkinson, who is now 61 years old, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility